Hello everyone, welcome to Science Lab. The signs are happening because Jesus is coming. Every day we are seeing some of the great signs that are happening around us.
Even in this episode, we are going to see some of the disastrous events that are taking place around the world.
Nothing grabs attention like a massive explosion. In past decades, it would have taken a war correspondent with a film crew to bring a video from a conflict zone into our living rooms. For a cameraman to happen to be filming when a blast occurred and far enough away for the film to survive would be pure luck. Even then, it would be days before the public would see the video.
Today, everyone with a smartphone is a videographer. Social media and streaming service mean that video appears instantly around the world. Still, to capture an unexpected explosion, you need to be filming in the right direction and the right time.
In Beirut on August 4, 2020, all the cameras were doing just that. A fire in a port hangar followed by an initial smaller explosion got everyone's attention, and out came the smartphones.
From port workers and fire crews up close on the dock, to sailors at sea returning to the port, to mothers high up in neighboring apartment buildings, to people dining in nearby restaurants, to concerned citizens miles away in the eastern hills or north coast. All had their cameras filming the billowing white smoke. Then it happened.
A colossal blast unexpectedly sent debris and rust-colored smoke soaring. A pressure wave instantly flattened nearby buildings, flipping cars and blowing out every window in Beirut. The resulting shock waves, equivalent to a 3.5 magnitude earthquake, were felt more than 150 miles away on the island of Cyprus. 2,700 metric tons of ammonium nitrate had combusted in a flash. By comparison, 2 tons of ammonium nitrate were used in the 1995 Oklahoma City bombing, making the Beirut blast almost 1,000 times more powerful. It was equivalent to 500 tons of TNT, one of the largest non-nuclear explosions in history. Within moments, if you were on your own smart device or computer, you saw the shocking video from one angle, then 2, then 10, as more people uploaded their video to social media. The blast in the port of Beirut was likely the most filmed explosion ever, and understandably it grabbed attention world over. The silver lining to this horrific event is that your attention is drawn to the tiny Middle Eastern nation to witness a far more spellbinding event, the fulfillment of biblical prophecy. The seemingly unimportant nation is a linchpin for an important prophetic alliance between Europe and certain nations in the Middle East. And that alliance, prophecy says, will encounter the Islamic regime in Iran. However, this tiny nation is currently dominated by Hezbollah, an Iran-backed militia turned political power. This means a dramatic change is certain to take place there. Before you divert your eyes from Lebanon, you need to understand how the Beirut blast is acting as a catalyst to bring about the staggering change in world affairs. The shock wave from this event will be felt not only in Middle East but worldwide. Aerial footage of ground zero of the blast showing a gaping hole in the port. The explosion created a chasm 45 meters deep and utter destruction in every other direction. Initial estimates put the damage around $15 billion. Over 160 people were killed, thousands more were injured, and nearly 1/3 people, 15% of the city's population, became homeless. The shipment of ammonium nitrate arrived at the port in late 2013 when the Moldovan flagged cargo vessel Rosas was forced to dock in Beirut after facing technical problems at sea. But reports in some Lebanese media claim Iran purchased the chemical compound and had Rosas make a beeline for Beirut to offload it and store it for the future use. Storing the volatile material at port worried local port authorities. Customs officials made 10 separate appeals to the Lebanese government from June 2014 through July 2020 to remove it. But the explosives material remained, just a stone's throw away from the central business district. Why? No direct link to Hezbollah have been made public by investigators yet, and likely won't be absent an independent international investigation. Nevertheless, it's hard to see how Hezbollah was not fully aware of the explosive content at the port. Both Israel and the United States Treasury Department have said previously that Hezbollah controls most of Beirut's port facilities. Along with control of the port, plenty of evidence suggests that Hezbollah was holding ammonium nitrate there to enable it to ship large quantities of bomb-making material where it wanted. Soon after the shipment arrived, Israel's Mossad agency began reporting to foreign government that more Hezbollah activities involved ammonium nitrate. According to the Times of Israel, the Mossad learned in 2014 that Unit 910 Hezbollah's Foreign Operations Group was developing the means to launch terror attacks around the world. This led to sting operations in several nations involving ammonium nitrate in 2015. In May 2015, authorities in Cyprus found 9 tons of ammonium nitrate in a Larnaca home. Hezbollah had paid the Lebanese Cypriot man more than $10,000 to hide the material, which it planned to use to target Israelis' interest in Cyprus. In August of that year, Kuwaiti authorities arrested 3 Hezbollah operatives who had stored 21 tons of ammonium nitrate in a residential house. That autumn, British authorities discovered 3 tons of ammonium nitrate stashed in thousands of disposable ice packs at Hezbollah bomb-making facility in London. On 2019, Mossad reportedly notified the German government that Hezbollah had stashed hundreds of kilograms of ammonium nitrate in warehouses in southern Germany. This helped motivate Germany to ban the organization. In 2017, Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah threatened to attack Israel's northern port city of Haifa by blowing up its ammonia tank. Considering Hezbollah's link to the port and its several foiled ammonium nitrate attacks, it becomes clear that Hezbollah was aware of the stockpile and was using it for his nefarious ends. Though a paper trail from the warehouse directly to Hezbollah has not yet been revealed, the Lebanese people are already blaming the group.
We have seen many disastrous things happening around us, but there is more. Don't go anywhere. We'll meet you after a short break. Welcome back to Science Lab. The science are happening because Jesus is coming. Before the break, we were seeing about some of the disastrous events happening around us, and let's continue. Before the blast, Hezbollah already faced increasing resistance from the Lebanese. Hezbollah's control over many of the government ministries give it financial and political power, not to mention opportunities for corruption and mismanagement.
However, as Hezbollah's power has increased, international investment in Lebanon by the Gulf states and its allies has severely dropped, resulting in economic collapse. Lebanon's currency has lost 85% of its value in the past year, More than half the population is now in poverty. People are enduring rolling blackouts, up to 22 hours per day, and food is becoming scarcer.
Foreign nations and the International Monetary Fund are ready to provide Lebanon with a massive aid package. Economists for the Foundation of Defense of Democracy said that before the blast, Lebanon needed a staggering $93 billion. For context, the FDD noted that the IMF's largest ever bailout in history was $57 billion to Argentina in 2018. Lebanon has just over 10% the population of Argentina and needs twice the money to stay afloat. Again, this was before the $15 billion blast. However, while the IMF is willing to send a large amount to Lebanon, that money is conditional upon Lebanon accepting fundamental changes to its system that will curtail Hezbollah's power. Hezbollah has refused, thus preventing aid money from coming. Put simply, if Lebanon is to survive as a nation, it has two choices: accept being a client state of Iran and the poverty that comes with it, or rise up against Hezbollah and get help from the outside world. It is not easy to revolt against Hezbollah, whose independent military is more powerful than Lebanese national armed forces. Yet, even before the blast, voices in Lebanon were growing increasingly bold in holding Hezbollah to account. The Patriarch Maronite Church, which represents 40% of Lebanon's population, began criticizing Hezbollah. Such comments were interpreted to oppose Hezbollah's violent interference in nations like Syria and Yemen. The blast widened the split between Hezbollah and Maronites because it was the predominantly Christian neighborhood surrounding the port that suffered most of the destruction. Christians and many Sunnis and Shiites are protesting in the streets to demand a total change in government. In a sign of a possible break with Hezbollah, President Aoun publicly endorsed possible peace talks with Israel in the future while talking with French BFM TV news channel on August 15th. A few days after the blast, Lebanese protesters stormed government buildings and assembled the Martyr Square in Beirut to hang effigies of leading politicians, including Hezbollah's leader Hassan Nasrallah. Such open defiance of Hezbollah is unheard of in Lebanon. Now that taboo has been broken. During the massive protests the week after the blast, more than 700 people were injured. Seeing the violence on the street, Lebanese Prime Minister Hassan Diab dissolved his cabinet, ending his brief term in office. Did God allow this massive explosion in Beirut in order to draw your attention to the biblical prophecies about to unfold in that little corner of the earth? Events that start there will reverberate across the Middle East and the world. Within a few weeks of the blast, most people had already moved on from events in Lebanon. Don't be one of them. Figuratively, now is not the time to put away the video camera. A more significant event than the Beirut blast is about to take place in Lebanon, and God does not want you to miss it.
Before his death, burial and resurrection, the Lord Jesus Christ was sitting on the Mount of Olives, and his disciples came to him privately and asked, "Tell us, when will these things be? And what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age?" For the Lord Jesus Christ lists out things that will take place before his coming.
And Jesus answered and said to them, "And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation will raise against nation, and the kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of sorrows."
All these show that what is mentioned in the Bible that are going to take place in the end times are taking place in our lifetime. We are living in the last days. Lord Jesus Christ is coming again very soon. Thank you for watching this episode. Don't forget to tune into Science Lab next time.
Before we end the show, we would like to ask you a question. What is the capital of Lebanon? Option A, Damascus, option B, Beirut, and option C, Baghdad.
Send us your correct answer to our email address sciencelab@angeltv.org. If you have missed any of these episodes, don't worry, you can watch it again in our Science Lab YouTube page. But don't forget to like, share, and comment on the video.
Ask your friends and relatives to watch the Science Lab so that they will know that we are living in the last days. Remember, signs are happening because the Lord Jesus is coming. Maranatha.